Hej, gramy dalej w The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. No i teraz udamy się na farmę Brydena. Chyba stąd się nie da, ale tutaj już powinniśmy móc aktywować mapę. Najpierw znów retrospekcja.
Mummy?
Get away from the fire, Thomasina.
What are you burning?
Nothing. Just waste. Now go inside.
Abrax. Mummy, what is this?
Waste. Burn it.
Kolejna nikomu niepotrzebna retrospekcja, w której poznaliśmy jakieś słowo, Abrax, chyba niedokończone. No tak czy inaczej, no, można to było przemycić w trakcie zwykłej fabuły, bo nic tam się takiego nie działo w retrospekcji, by usprawiedliwione było jej pojawienie się.
Good day, Mr. Bryden.
Miss,
I...
I'll stop you there. I know what you're going to ask. No, I haven't changed my mind. There'll be no digging here, lass.
Mr. Bryden, allow me to explain. There has been an astonishing development this morning.
Yes?
My father was with your brother during the excavation.
Oh,
Yes. Can you believe it? I had no idea he had been here.
the answer's still no, lass. I saw what happened to poor Samuel. I won't risk the same happening to anyone else.
But
That's enough now. You can feast your eyes on that hovel to your heart's content, but there'll be no digging.
No chyba nie będzie łatwo go przekonać. Na razie nie będziemy może nalegać, bo widać, że trudno będzie no, coś zrobić, aby zmienił zdanie.
hello?
Jakaś dziewczynka się pojawiła.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Did you see a young girl with blonde hair pass by here?
No, lass. There you are. Are you Thomasina Bateman?
A ty to kto? No te zbliżenia są straszne na twarze. Można sobie pomyśleć, że no, ja jakbym spojrzał na taką twarz, to bałbym się rozmawiać z tą osobą, ale podobnie było z tym naszym kolegą, którego spoliczkowaliśmy.
That's my name.
How marvellous. It's me, Leonard Shoulder.
Heavens! I'd given up on finding you.
Please take a seat, Miss Bateman. We have much to discuss.
You've proven to be quite the enigma, Mr. Shoulder.
I'm mortified. I offer you 1,000 apologies. You see, I've been bound to me bed these past few days with a terrible fever.
How dreadful. I take it you're feeling better now?
Aye, I were on me way to find you when I stopped here to catch me breath. I've not much go in me these days.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I were worried you'd have given up on me and left town.
I had no idea what had become of you, Mr. Shoulder. I spent a good amount of time pounding on your front door.
I'm embarrassed, I really am. I've been doing my best to sleep through the fever. I am so very sorry. Please accept my apology, Miss Bateman.
Fine, Mr. Shoulder. I've come all this way. Let us speak of the business at hand.
Marvellous.
I've just learned that my father was part of a previous excavation of Hobbs Barrow some 25 years ago. Why didn't you mention this in your letter?
What? Where did you hear that?
I have my means.
I swear, Miss Bateman, I had no idea.
I take it you will also deny delivering me my father's journal?
I'm confused. What journal?
My father's journal was slipped under my door at the Plough and Furrow. It wasn't you who did this.
I've been bound to me bed, lass. What an extraordinary coincidence. You are following in your father's footsteps.
It would seem so, Mr. Shoulder.
No wreszcie go spotkaliśmy. Swoją drogą, no, jeśli był tak chory, umarłby i nikt by się o tym nie dowiedział. Nie miał nikogo, czy nie ma nikogo znajomego, kogo posłałby do Tomasiny i powiedział, że no, Leonard jest chory.
Why did you invite me to excavate Hobbs Barrow?
I've always been curious about the colourful folklore surrounding the place. My father told me all sorts of stories about it when I was a wee fellow. Stories that some folk around here take a little too seriously, especially after those lads entered the barrow a while back.
How did you know about me?
I saw your interview in the Bakewell Times. A young lady travelling about the land, digging up barrows. Perfect for the job.
But why do you wish to excavate the barrow?
I want to see what those lads found in there. My curiosity has grown over the years. Now it is time for the mystery to be solved.
I must say I am rather eager to find out what's in there myself. I've managed to find Hobbs Barrow, but Mr. Bryden is yet to give me permission to excavate.
Is that so? Keep trying. You'll relent eventually.
Perhaps you could have a word with him.
Oh, no. A lovely young lass such as yourself has a better chance of changing his mind than a shaky old goat like me.
You told me in your letter there would be no issue gaining access to the barrow.
I didn't foresee any when I wrote to you. I'm sorry this has been more complicated than anticipated. Don't give up yet, Miss Bateman. Keep trying with Mr. Bryden.
No właśnie tutaj się można zastanawiać, czy tylko ciekawość nim powoduje, czy ma jakieś może osobiste interesy w tym, żeby ten kurhan odkopać, żeby przeprowadzić te wykopaliska.
Did you know my father?
I don't believe so. What's his name?
William Bateman. He was in Bewley for at least a few days, from my understanding.
I'm sorry, lass. The name doesn't ring a bell.
Are you sure you had no idea of my father's involvement in the previous excavation?
I'm quite sure. A most fascinating coincidence, but nothing more than that.
I'm starting to wonder if it's more than mere coincidence, Mr. Shoulder.
Miss Bateman, I did not take you for a credulous individual.
I'm none of the sort. What can you tell me about the previous excavation of Hobbs Barrow?
Oh, it were 25 years ago, or thereabout. Back then, Bewley were undergoing a period of great strife. Samuel Bryden hadn't harvested a single crop for 2 seasons. Even Hernwood was sick. Berries went to rot almost as quickly as they grew. Folks started to believe the ground were blighted. Disease spread through the livestock too. People were going hungry, a panic set in.
That sounds terrible.
Aye, but I managed to keep myself fed. These things happen in nature, but the blame for it all fell on Hobbs Barrow. It were long said that a goblin made his home there. A rumour took root that the goblin were not best pleased with the villagers. In revenge for some unperceived slight, the goblin placed a curse on the soil itself. The villagers believed that ridding the barrow of its lodger would put an end to it all.
Hogwash. My father would have paid no heed to such tales.
Whether it were his intent to join the excavation when coming here, I do not know. But whatever it were that Samuel Bryden and those lads did inside that barrow, people say it did the trick. The crops started to grow back, and health returned to the livestock. Bewley were no longer in the grip of dark forces. You must understand, folk here are a superstitious lot. They don't want you disturbing whatever it were those lads did. As far as the villagers are concerned, the problem were fixed. The thought of another excavation must be conjuring panic that you'll undo whatever it were they did.
This does explain a lot.
And it's also why I'd venture nobody around here wants you to touch the place.
Except for you.
I want to know what's there.
Surely you don't believe these tales of goblins and curses to be true.
Not at all. However, I suspect those lads did find something in the barrow. But did it have any connection to failing crops and dying livestock? No. I can assure you there's nothing to fear. coincidence reigns supreme.
So what do you think they found?
That is for us to discover, Miss Bateman.
Who was the third man who joined my father and Mr. Bryden on the excavation?
I'm afraid I don't know. Although I'd heard about the excavation and I were intrigued by it, I mostly stayed at home during that time. The atmosphere in the village was rather too tense for my liking. And besides, the excavation were undertaken with an air of mystery about it.
No właśnie, tutaj można się zastanawiać, czy w jakiś sposób jednak on nie był związany z tymi wykopaliskami. No bo po prostu tam był. Nagle znów plony były takie jak wcześniej po tych wykopaliskach i on po 25 latach nagle wzywa Thomasinę, żeby przeprowadzić tam wykopaliska ponownie. Raczej po takim czasie, no nie sądzę, żeby stojąc wtedy z boku, teraz nagle naszła go chęć, naszła go ciekawość, by dowiedzieć się, co oni tam znaleźli. Tak kompletnie bez powodu i bez jakiegoś emocjonalnego zaangażowania w te pierwsze wykopaliska. To jest jedna sprawa. Druga sprawa, no to są te przesądy. Mamy wyjaśnienie trochę w pewnym stopniu przynajmniej, dlaczego mieszkańcy są niechętni w stosunku do Thomasiny. No i trzecie, podczas tej rozmowy taki klimatyczny ambient nam przygrywa.
Tell me more of this folklore you mention.
It is said that Hobbs Barrow is home to a goblin. Everyone in Bewley has some version or another of this story. But the version my father told me as a child described the barrow as a thin place. The goblin were deemed to be the guardian of this so-called thin place.
Tell me more about this goblin.
Some said he were a mischievous little mite, snatching newborn lambs and smashing windows with pebbles. Others said he were friendly, there to lend a helping hand in times of strife. The latter of which makes it all the more surprising as to why the previous excavation took place. My father's stories put the goblin in the mischievous category. Saxnot, he called the creature. I recall one such anecdote, that Saxnot entered Bewley and ordered a pair of boots to be made by the cobbler. However, when collecting them, he insisted on paying for them with a bag of sow's teeth. The cobbler was so scared of angering the goblin that he accepted.
A colourful tale indeed, Mr. Shoulder. Has any explanation been offered for why this Saxnot cursed the soil?
Your guess is as good as mine, lass.
No to warto zawsze sobie poczytać takie legendy. Na przykład mamy bestiariusz słowiański, gdzie autorstwa Pawła Zycha i Witolda Vargasa. Tych bestiariuszy jest zresztą sporo, gdzie mamy pięknie ilustrowany swoją drogą, gdzie mamy taki krótki opis tych różnych jeżeń, tych różnych właśnie bestii, czy duchów, czy demonów, które ponoć zamieszkiwały te nasze okolice, nasze tereny polskie. Mamy też na przykład książki ciekawe, Stara Słaboniowa i Z piekła duchy, które też korzystają z takich ciekawych legend, ciekawych przesądów. Także ja lubię tego rodzaju tematy.
What is a thin place?
A place where one can walk between worlds, where the flesh meets the spirit world. Just superstition, of course, as you well know.
I had a peculiar dream last night. I met a creature at Hobbs Barrow. I suppose you might say it was a goblin. It told me it had saved my father from trouble inside Hobbs Barrow. I'll admit the coincidence of this is somewhat astounding.
A remarkable coincidence, but nothing more than that.
But there is still one thing that puzzles me. The goblin told me proof of its claims would await me in the morning. Surely enough, I awoke to find that my father's journal had appeared in my room.
Very queer indeed.
Mr. Shoulder, you invited me here, to a town I'd never heard of, only for me to discover that my own father was here 25 years before. And not only that, but that he was also embroiled in some sort of superstitious hysteria which goes against everything he ever taught me. Something is wrong here. This must be more than mere coincidence.
It's strange, I'll give you that. But please remember who you are, Miss Bateman.
No, to że jej ojciec prowadził tutaj wykopaliska 25 lat temu i to, co się stało z jej ojcem, nadaje wymiar pobytowi i misji Thomasiny tutaj, nadaje temu wymiar bardzo osobisty. Także jeśli wcześniej miała jakieś wątpliwości, a nie miała, czy przeprowadzić te wykopaliska, no to myślę, że ta rodzinna, ta osobista historia, ten czynnik jeszcze bardziej ją motywuje i niejako zabrania jej zatrzymać się.
This is my father's journal.
Incredible. Can I look inside?
You may.
Look at these drawings. Wonder what it all means.
You and I both. It all feels very out of character for my father.
I'm sure you'll find the answers beneath the soil, Miss Bateman.
What do you make of this strange stone?
The carving of a cockerel?
Yes, it was strapped to my father's journal. Do you think it could have something to do with the previous excavation?
Possibly, though I'm not aware of the motif having any meaning around these parts.
Is this your glove?
I've been looking all over for that. Where did you find it?
In the alley behind the plough and furrow on the night of my arrival. Were you there?
As I say, I've been bedbound for several days, Miss Bateman.
How odd.
Can I please have it back?
Here.
Thank you. We're peas of the same pod, Miss Bateman. I knew you wouldn't be frightened by a few old stories. It will be interesting to see what those lads found in there.
Certainly.
Thank you so very much for responding to my letter and for coming here. We have some great discoveries to make, you and I.
I sincerely hope so.
And a chance to follow in your father's footsteps. Right, time for me to shift these old bones. I'm to take me a spot of the plough and furrow. I'll be there all night should you need me assistance.
Thank you, Mr. Shoulder.
I'm sorry again for giving you the runaround. I promise I am not beyond redemption. I won't let you down again. See you soon.
I was starting to wonder if Mr. Shoulder even existed.
No tak, tyle, że jego słowa, ta jego historia i jego motywacje, to wszystko ma jedną słabość, mianowicie jest nią rękawiczka, bo no nagle się chyba tam nie teleportowała, nie znalazła się tam przypadkiem. Trudno też zakładać, że leżała tam na przykład tydzień, że pojawiła się tam jeszcze kilka dni przed przybyciem Thomasiny, no i przeleżała w tamtym miejscu. Wydaje się, że jednak on tam był. Dlaczego ujawnił się dopiero teraz i opowiada, że był chory? Czy to kłamstwo, czy jednak nie?
The day was starting to test me. The word coincidence felt insufficient to explain what was happening. It was after that first conversation with Leonard Shoulder that I started entertaining thoughts of a truly irrational nature. What if my dream wasn't just a dream? What if it was all more than simple coincidence? What if that thing really could help my father? Good day, little one. Hello? What's this? A fiddle bow? There's no string. My name is Thomasina. What's yours? Don't be shy. I don't mean you any harm. What are you doing out here all alone on the moors? Do you live here? Would you like me to fix your bow so you can play your fiddle again? Yes? Hey! Most peculiar. Perhaps I can mend the bow for her. If memories of my childhood violin lessons serve me right, bowstring is made from animal hair coated in a waxy resin. The strings don't vibrate without it.
Dziewczynka nie umie mówić? Czy jest, nie wiem, nieśmiała? Bo wygląda na to, że rozumie, co do niej mówimy. A druga rzecz to, że Tomasina, mimo tej swojej racjonalnej natury, jednak ma wątpliwości. My natomiast wracamy na rynek.
Fresh and steamy. Delightful. I believe a horse to be the culprit.
Literówka świeży, uparujący.
I certainly don't wish to touch it. A fine specimen. She's well looked after. Horsehair would make fine bowstring. She almost took my head off.
Trzeba będzie jakoś przekonać konia, żeby pozwolił nam się dotknąć, a nawet coś więcej niż dotknąć.
The enigmatic Mr. Leonard Shoulder. He looks somewhat frail. Hello again, Mr. Shoulder.
Miss Bateman.
I've still not been able to gain permission to excavate from Mr. Bryden.
Is that so? Perhaps you could show him something that might change his mind.
Jest jakaś propozycja działania.
What else can you tell me about this Sax knot?
Try not to worry yourself too much with these old stories. Leave those to the locals, Miss Bateman.
Have others spoken of goblins appearing in their dreams?
A dream is a dream, that is all. They merely make for good stories.
I know.
But to answer your question, no, not to my knowledge.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Shoulder.
I'm sure the locals have filled you in already, lass.
You cut quite the mysterious figure. Most had little to say.
It's true, I do tend to keep my head down. When one gets to my age, one grows very comfortable in one's home. I like the isolation of the moors. I wouldn't change it for anything.
I take it you don't get many visitors.
Oh no, nobody bothers me. That's the perk of living so far out, huh? Just me and me hens. I used to come into Bewley more often, back before my health went to bugger, eh?
Gorzej, jak jesteś chory, potrzebujesz pomocy i nawet nikt nie wie. Co tam? Nie widzieliśmy go tydzień, nikt się tym nie przejmuje. Ciekawe, po jakim czasie ktoś by się zainteresował.
What do you think of Bewley?
Whilst one could consider the villages to be rather unenlightened, this place has its charm. The market's in town today. You can see that folk want fun out here.
Is there anything else I should know about Hobbs Barrow, Mr. Shoulder?
No, lass. I'm certain we will know a lot more about it by this time tomorrow.
I hope so. What else can you tell me about the previous excavation?
I think I covered it earlier, Miss Bateman. As you yourself said, it were a time of superstitious hysteria.
What was it like, living in that period of hysteria?
I kept to myself. It didn't really affect me. My hens stayed healthy and their eggs kept me well fed. If one can keep a level head in such situations, one can get by.
Indeed. Is there anything else I should be aware of before my own excavation? No other ghouls I should be worried about?
Ah, you know the answer to that. The corruption in that soil were all in the minds of men.
What do you make of Lord Panswick?
His lordship is an important man in Bewley, as I'm sure you have gathered. His family has commanded much respect here for many generations.
Do you respect him as a leader?
I do. He wants the best for the village. Without his influence, the railway line would have never come through here.
Does he want more visitors?
Aye, I believe so. He has great ambitions for Bewley and wants to share them with the world.
What do you make of Mildred Walker?
Who?
I believe she's also known as Mother Mildred.
Oh, we used to get about when we were children. Our paths have not crossed in a long while.
On mieszka na uboczu, ona mieszka na uboczu, ale trochę w inną stronę.
What do you think of Charles Bryden?
He is a decent man. It must have been hard for him after that terrible business with his brother.
Without a doubt. I must say I had assumed you had at least spoken to him about my visit.
Sorry, lass, I had no intention of giving you the runaround. Again, I can only apologise.
If you don't mind me asking, what is the nature of your ongoing illness?
Oh, just the ravages of age. Getting off this bench will be a small battle in itself. Something you won't need to worry about for many a year, Miss Bateman.
Growing old is a blessing and a curse. And what of your recent fever?
An ordeal it were. So much tossing and turning. But I'm right as rain now, especially after a mug of ale. Don't worry about me.
No to szybko ozdrowiał.
What are Lord Panswick's plans for Bewley?
He's rebuilding an old chapel on his estate. He seeks to bring God back to these lands.
But what of St. Edmunds? I think Father Roach might argue God has never left.
Indeed. Let's leave such arguments to them, shall we?
Thank you for your time.
Aye, Miss Bateman. We will speak more later.
You found old Leonard, I see.
Yes, finally. Does the name Saxnot mean anything to you?
No, I can't say it does.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Hello there.
Yes?
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Ted? Ted Cross?
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise.
Are you a local, Mr. Cross?
Oh no, I'm just passing through. I'm a musician. Just myself, me guitar and me horse.
Are you a travelling musician?
Aye. I've been playing a new song tonight. I've just finished the lyrics.
What's it about?
You'll have to come listen.
Is that your horse stationed in the alley?
Aye. Thistlecrack is her name.
That's an unusual name for a horse.
Aye. It were what she were called when I bought her. Glutton would be a better name. She likes her treats. But it feels wrong to change it.
What do you make of Bewley?
Can't say that I know much about this place. I don't usually travel this far south.
I see. Have you heard of a place called Hobbs Barrow?
Can't say I have, miss. What is it?
Never mind. Thank you for your time.
Make sure you watch my performance later, won't you?
I'll try.
No to dowiedzieliśmy się, do kogo należy koń, ale niewiele nam to dało. Natomiast no, Leonard dał nam jakąś wskazówkę, aby no, może coś pokazać, coś dać temu, no, Brydenowi, jakoś go przekonać. No i może pokażmy mu ten kamień.
What do you make of this stone, Mr. Bryden? It was strapped to my father's journal.
Wait a minute. Let me see that. By God. Wait here a moment. I need to get something from inside.
I waited for what felt like an age. I now realise that Mr. Bryden must have been in a great debate with himself, wondering whether or not to share his own piece of the mystery with me. The goat stared at me, seemingly in pity, as I stood there in that rolling fog. Finally, Mr. Bryden emerged.
Now then, as far as I know, what I have here is the only thing that Samuel brought back from Barra. Take a look.
Incredible! A pear!
That's been in my drawer ever since Samuel passed. I suppose it might be important, so I kept it safe. Fate is clearly playing a part in your arrival, lass.
Please, Mr. Bryden, allow me to excavate Hobbs Barrow, a place that is no more than dirt and stone.
You're not gonna give up, are you, lass?
I'm not.
Samuel managed to say one thing about those men that helped him. I think it's time I tell you.
Yes?
He stuttered out that one of those fellows could barely walk after they got out of there. Tongue-tied too, the man were.
My father.
You what?
My father. He had an accident around 25 years ago that left him bedbound and unable to talk.
Aye, could be him.
My mother told me it happened in a horse riding accident.
Samuel boarded up that barrow for a reason. Something unnatural occurred, I know it.
Mr. Bryden, we must rely on our rational faculties to explain any...
Promise me you'll be careful. Any sign of trouble, leave without hesitation and we board that accursed place up again. Understood?
Wait, you're giving me permission to excavate?
Aye. Against me better judgment. I don't have the energy to stop you, lass.
Thank you so much. I am grateful.
Don't make me regret my decision. Take Samuel's stone.
Are you sure?
Aye. Give it back to me when you're finished, though.
I promise. Thank you. I'll be sure to show you my discoveries, Mr. Bryden.
I'd rather you don't. Now then, I've got things to get on with.
I don't suppose you can spare any labour to help me with the dig?
Don't push your luck, lass. Market's on today. Plenty of able-bodied men about. Ta-ra now.
And like that, I finally had permission to excavate Hobbs Barrow. As exciting as that was, I was distracted by what Mr. Bryden said of his brother's associate. There was no doubt in my mind that father was the stricken man he spoke of. You told me he was crippled after coming off his horse. Why did you lie to me? To protect me? To stop me from following in his footsteps? You failed. And so did Charles Bryden. He should have said no. He should have never given me that stone.
O! Czyżby to jakaś zapowiedź tego, co ma się wydarzyć? Jakby przepowiedziała, że to pozwolenie i te wykopaliska finalnie doprowadzą do jakichś niefortunnych zdarzeń. Ale w porządku, przekonamy się. Na razie wracamy na rynek, tam ma być targ dzisiaj. No i trzeba było przeprowadzić tę rozmowę z panem Brydenem, otrzymać od niego zgodę na wykopaliska, żeby te stragany różnego rodzaju się rozstawiły.
She looks rather grumpy. Good day.
Fresh produce.
What have you got for sale?
I'm selling meat, vegetables, and all sorts of herbs and things. You're welcome to have a gander.
I'll be sure to browse. Goodbye.
Ta-ra, miss.
No to sprawdźmy. Są puszki.
Tins of corned beef. Ghastly. Tins of... The box is full of various sprouts and onions. Nothing particularly tempting. I'm not hungry. She is selling various herbs. Some familiar looking, some not. Not tempting.
Czyli niewiele, co by nas interesowało.
Sacks of apples and cabbages. They've all seen better days. A jolly looking fellow. He'd make a fine snake oil salesman.
No jak dla mnie wygląda bardziej na przybitego. Jeszcze sobie spodnie poprawia.
Good day.
Freshly picked apples, miss. Would you like to try one on the house, like?
Yes, please.
Here you are, miss.
The apple looks somewhat rotten. It's riddled with holes.
Znaczy, jeśli takie specjały sprzedaje, to nie wróżę mu powodzenia i wielu klientów.
He's selling an assortment of greasy meat pies and Scotch eggs.
Can I interest you in a pie? Finest mutton in all the county. 2p each.
No, thank you.
You're missing out.
Miss Tompkins looks more anxious every time I see her. Hello, Miss Tompkins.
Hello.
We weren't introduced earlier. My name is Thomasina.
Ma'am?
How do you fare, Miss Tompkins?
I'm waiting for Mr. Ambrose. Have you seen him?
Who's that?
The milkman. Miss Fenchurch will be ever so cross if I've no milk for his lordship.
I'm afraid I haven't seen him. You are in the employ of Lord Panswick?
Aye. He employs Arthur Bewley in one way or another.
I'm in need of some help for my excavation. Do you think his lordship could lend me some of his labourers?
Maybe.
Might you introduce me to him?
Sorry, ma'am, but his lordship doesn't take visitors.
Any road. I must wait here for Mr. Ambrose. Miss Fenchurch will be ever so cross if I've no milk for his lordship.
If Mr. Ambrose doesn't turn up, and I find you some milk, would you be able to introduce me to Lord Panswick?
His lordship really doesn't like visitors, ma'am.
I'll take the risk.
Miss Fenchurch will be cross with me. But she'll be even crosser if I come back without fresh milk.
So, do we have a deal?
Aye. Bring me some milk, and I'll take you to his lordship.
Thank you.
But hopefully Mr. Ambrose will arrive soon.
Czyli mamy kolejne zadanie.
Have you been waiting long for Mr. Ambrose?
Aye. He should have been here a good 2 hours ago. He's here every market day, you see. He sells only the freshest milk. Miss Fenchurch swears by it. I hope misfortune hasn't befallen him on his way here.
I'm sure he will turn up.
Oh, I hope so.
Are you familiar with Hobbs Barrow?
What's that?
Never mind. What do you make of these stones?
Oh, gives me the creeps.
Why?
Dunno, just a feeling.
Słychać szczekanie psa gdzieś w oddali.
Who is Miss Fenchurch?
His lordship's housekeeper.
I'll let you know if I find some fresh milk.
Thank you, ma'am. But tell me if you see Mr. Ambrose, won't you?
I will.
No to tak, tu mamy teraz 2 podstawowe zadania. Pierwsze to jest zdobycie mleka, a drugie no to naprawienie tegoż oto urządzenia, które nazywa się smyczek.
Joe, perhaps you've had enough sugar?
Don't you start an all.
Hello again, Mr. Shoulder.
Miss Bateman.
Mr. Bryden has given me permission to excavate Hobbs Barrow.
Marvellous. I'm sorry you've had to sort all this out in my absence. When do we start?
Tomorrow, I hope. But first I need to recruit some locals to assist with the dig. It's too much work for me to do on my own.
I see. Bewley has its fair share of strapping young lads. You'll find assistance, Miss Bateman.
Thank you for your time.
Aye, Miss Bateman. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Trochę się nami wysługuje, bo on nawet palcem nie kiwnął.
Do you have any fresh milk going spare?
Sorry, lass. I've none at all.
Never mind. Goodbye.
See you soon.
Hello?
Oh, aye, she's back again. Can't a man drink his tea in peace? There's nought for you here, lass.
Horrible man. How many more sugar cubes is he going to add to his tea? He'll have no teeth left by the end of the day.
No to zabierzmy cukier. A co?
Hands off me sugar.
I think this is supposed to be for all the patrons, sir.
I said hands off.
Come on, Joe. Be nice to our visitors.
Ha! This place has gone to buggery.
No i zdobyliśmy kostkę cukru. Wędrujemy z nią do konia.
Here, girl. Eat this. Good girl. Hopefully that's gained some trust between us.
No, jak się przekonamy, chyba dość łatwo zdobyć zaufanie konia. Wystarczy dać mu cukier, a wtedy staje się potulny jak baranek.
I've managed to cut off a few lengthy strands.
Chociaż nie wiem, czy baranki są takie potulne, bo nie podchodziłem do nich i nie próbowałem, nie wchodziłem z nimi w jakiekolwiek interakcję. Może tak powiem. No dobrze, czyli mamy już... Mamy, czy nie mamy? A mam, on jest prawie niewidoczne. Bardzo ciemny koński włos.
Mutton pies!
Nie, dziękuję za te placki.
You're coming with me, little fellow. I shall name you Kenneth.
A, proszę. Nazywamy dżdżownicę. Nadajemy jej imię. To mi przypomina trochę Broken Sworda 5. Już nie pamiętam tego imienia, ale tam nie wiem, co to było. Jakiś robaczek? Karaluch, czy kto to tam był, ale też George mu nadał imię.
The worm has found a new home within the holes of the rotten apple.
No i cudownie. Nakarmiliśmy dżdżownicę. Dobry uczynek. No i co teraz możemy zrobić? Możemy na przykład jeszcze porozglądać się za tym mlekiem.
Hello again.
Yes?
Do you have any fresh milk going spare?
No, sorry.
Not to worry. Farewell. The resin has set somewhat. It's firmly gripped to the stump.
Ale mamy nóż, także możemy ją zeskrobać.
I've collected some waxy resin.
No i naprawimy smyczek tym samym.
There we are. This should make sufficient bowstring now. I've done it. The bowstring seems to hold on sufficiently.
No i sprawdźmy, czy ta, nie wiem, czy nie ma. W każdym razie dziewczynka, która nie przemówiła do nas ani razu, za to dała nam smyczek. Czy będzie tam, gdzie ją spotkaliśmy?
Look what I have for you. My head is spinning. What happened? Hello? Where did she go?
To było dziwne.
The girl left her fiddle behind. I'll take it with me in case I see her again. I want to understand what just happened.
Trudno powiedzieć, bo wyglądało na to, jakby ta muzyka, którą dziewczynka grała, prawda, wprowadziła Thomasinę w jakiś stan, nie wiem, hipnozy? Straciła przytomność, obudziła się tutaj po jakimś czasie. Co się tak naprawdę stało? Gdzie się podziała dziewczynka? Trudno powiedzieć. Zostawiła instrument, co jest bardzo też dziwne. Dziwne rzeczy się dzieją. Dobrze, to już koniec odcinka. Zapraszam na kolejne. Dziękuję serdecznie za uwagę. Trzymajcie się i do usłyszenia. Pa, pa.